Let's start with understanding what are public goods. So, public goods are sometimes also known as collective goods, and you'll shortly understand why. They're also called as social goods. So, they are the goods which all of the people can enjoy in common, in the sense that the consumption of this good by one individual does not lead to subtraction of the consumption of the good for other individuals. Let's take and let's consider the example of a park. So, I have a park, and every day there is this person who comes into the park and he jogs around the park. If another individual joins him for jogging, does it reduce the consumption of the first individual? Not really, right? If this individual is jogging, even a new individual who comes into the park has the entire park to himself to jog. So such a good, in which when this individual consumes the good, it does not lead to reduction in the consumption for the second good, is called a public good. Now contrast this with a pizza. So I have a pizza, and there is just one individual. He has this entire pizza to himself. If another individual comes to have this same pizza, they might have to divide it. So the consumption of this individual will reduce once another individual comes and wants to consume the same pizza. This is called a private good. We'll go into more details very soon of what is the difference between public and private good. But one of the major difference that we study between public and private good is that in case of public good, the consumption of the good by one individual does not reduce the consumption of the good by the other individuals. The consumption remains the same. Whereas in private good, the consumption of good by one individual reduces the consumption of the good for other individuals. So, if this is the case, then let's understand what happens to the demand curves. Remember when we used to draw the usual demand curves, how would we draw those? Supposedly, there are two individuals, A and B, and we want to understand the market demand. So we had the demand curve of individual A like this, suppose, for good X, and this is the demand curve of individual A, and this is the demand curve, suppose, of individual B. Let's say it's a little flatter in nature. Demand curve of individual B. Supposedly, I ask you, how do we draw the market demand in this case? What would we do? We would say that, all right, when the price is, let's say, 10 rupees, the demand by individual A was 5 units. At the same price of 10 rupees, the demand by individual B was just 2 units. So the market demand at 10 rupees was 5 units by individual A, 2 units by individual B. So, we would say that 7 units was the total demand of this product. This is what we have been doing till now, right? Whenever you would find the market demand, you would just club the demand of all individuals at a given price, and you would say that if at 10 rupees this is what is demanded by individual A, this is what is demanded by individual B, then this is what is demanded by the market as a whole. So we would say that at price 10, market demand is 5 units consumed by A, additional 2 units consumed by B. So here, I have 7, this gap is 2. So at 10, 7 is the market demand. This becomes my market demand curve. If I have to show this mathematically, how would we show that? We would say that market demand, let us represent it by XC, is the demand by individual A plus the demand by individual B at any given price. This is what was happening till now. And for all the goods that we dealt in microeconomics, because we were saying that at a given price, the willingness of individuals was very different. Therefore, it was a private good. Each individual was consuming different quantity depending on how much he is willing to buy at a given price. So, if this individual A is willing to buy 5 units, if this individual B is willing to buy 2 units, then we were saying that the market demand is 7 units. That is how we have been finding for the private goods. Let us now try and understand what happens for the public goods. So for public goods, let's say that there is one park that is built. Then in that case, individual 1 or A also consumes one park, because just one park is there in the market, in the society or wherever. Individual B also consumes the same one park, and market also consumes the same one park. Because consumption by individual A of that park did not reduce the quantity of the park. The park was still there. So it was equally available for individual B, and it was equally available for the market also. So in case of public goods, the equation that we write is the amount of good available in the market is the amount of good available to individual A is the same amount of good available to individual B. All the three equalize by each other.